Most businesses waste 67% of their ad spend, but here is how AI is completely rewriting the rules of lead gen in 2025. Today I'm showing you how I build an AI lead generation system that gets me qualified leads while I sleep. Most people think you need paid ads, cold DMs, or pay an entire agency for your lead generation. But that's completely outdated. With the right AI tools, automations, and prompts, you can build a self-running funnel that does everything for you on complete autopilot. In this video, I'll show you the exact system I use, including AI tools, prompts, and the whole automation flow, and how you can set this up too. I've used this to generate over 500 leads in the last 60 days without spending a single penny on ads. So let's break it down. Now, before actually going into the nitty and gritty of how to build this system, I want to show you a really quick demo of how everything works, so you can also better understand how this system manages real data in real time and how it provides value for both you and your business. So now I'll make this as quick, as understandable, and as easy as possible. So we are here inside make.com, where this is the actual system. This is the chain of different modules. So these little circles are modules that perform different actions that gets the result of generating leads, and ultimately of creating the marketing strategy and the presentation for it. Now, as we can see in the first module, this is Notion, and it basically represents the trigger of this whole automation. So when this runs, we'll also build this together later. Not e-commerce, I don't like that. Let's say coaches. And as you can see, this is extremely user friendly. You just need to fill in a couple of things, a couple of clicks from your mouse. Now I'll write in my secondary email, so no Indian guy will send me anything. No shame to any Indian guy, sorry. I'll hit submit, and now if we hop back into make and I'll hit run once, everything will run. So this module right here just received all the specific questions to the specific answers. Then it has updated my CRM into Airtable. So as you can see that all the fields have been populated: the name, the email, customer type, niche, solution offer, status, and call link, but that is in case it's a warm lead. It then has created the entire marketing strategy right here, as you can now see. And now it has structured the JSON. Now we want to structure the strategy as a JSON because we want to map out all the different pieces into different variables that we can basically manage more properly and easier. So with titles, description, and all different steps and subheadings, we've then created in JSON here. We can populate then here with as you can see, all of these variables. All of these variables then create the actual marketing strategy. Then this next module basically randomizes the template that is used. So we have 3 different templates. This is in case a single prospect fills out the form 2 or 3 times, so that he receives different templates with different graphics and different styles. So it happened to run in the first route of this system. So it has created the presentation. It then created the share link that is then being sent by email to the prospect. And actually before that, I forgot to mention that this module right here, this very little one, has created a whole social media post with also the CDA and the psychology used highlighted, so you can actually know what is happening inside this post. There's also the formatting for the hook, the body, and everything, and that also is included in the email. And now if I hop in here and I copy the share link into a new tab, we can actually see the real presentation. And when it loads, okay, as you can see, it has created everything top to bottom. Of course, you will need to tailor a couple of things. Maybe the formatting here and there is a little rough. You just need to test this out a ton. You just really need to test, and you will see together how to change the formatting and everything. And actually Let me give you a little sneak peek so you can understand how this system works. Now I will need to hop into my drive really quick so I can show you how this goes in practice. So when I run this and I see that there's a problem with the formatting, for example, I just hop into the presentation number 1 template and I move these variables. These are how variables are populated inside make.com, basically with curly brackets, 2 curly brackets at the beginning and at the end of a variable. And the variable will have the name of what is inside the curly brackets. So as you can see, here we have subheading 1, title 1, and if we hop into Notion in the presentation module, we can see that there are actually title 1 and subheading 1 as variables that we can fill in with all kind of text. And when you find something that doesn't look right, just hop in here and you select it and you move it a little and it will then be populated in. Yeah, I cut my hair, also changed my shirt. Back to the real stuff, what I want you to understand is that building an automated lead generation system is a bit like building a car. You can't just throw a few pieces together and hope it works. Every part, the frame, the engine, the wiring needs to be built properly, step by step. Otherwise, the car just might look good from the outside, but it won't work. In this video, I'm going to guide you through the key steps to make a system that actually works. No guesswork and no missing pieces. We'll start from the basic, and little by little, you'll see how each part connects to the next. By the end, you'll have a real system that brings you lead automatically. Now let's get started. And like any good car build, the first thing we need is the frame. The lead magnet. Now I know I just made a preamble about the fact that we are now going straight into the build of the system, and that is exactly what I want you to do. But even more than that, I want you to build a system that actually works. I don't want you to just watch a video and copy what's in it. I want you to understand the actual value and how you can actually build this yourself. So before going into the build, let me give you a quick overview why you should create this type of automations, why you should implement this kind of AI systems in your workflows right now, and why you should not use any other type of lead generating system. So starting with cold outreach, which we know is the act of contacting someone you have never interacted with. There are 3 main approaches that have been used till now. So email marketing through email campaigns, cold DMs through mainly LinkedIn, but can be done through all social media pages, including Instagram and Facebook, and cold calling. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm not going too in depth into these approaches. And because both me and you want to get to the real source of how this lead generation system I'm going to teach you in a couple of minutes is going to completely revolutionize the way you generate leads. So the main problem with these approaches is that they don't have personalization, or they have low personalization that require a lot of hard work, which is money and time consuming, and basically generates low to no results. Now the solution to this problem is AI personalization that has drastically lowered the value of personalization, which basically means that in order to create a valuable personalized interaction, you need a lot of work. You need to put a lot of work into crafting a well-crafted prompt or a well-crafted automation. Of course, a lot of hard work that you're going to put in one time and gain of that for months ahead. But this is something I'm going to talk about more in depth in another video. Then we have social media marketing, which is basically posting some kind of content with some specific tone and styling, adapting to your brand on basically all kind of social media pages. But the main problem with this approach is that it is something extremely saturated with so much competition. And in order to stand out, you need to do these 3 things. You need to personalize your content based on your audience. You need to have some consistency posting flows, which means that you need to post with some kind of consistency in order to keep your viewers attracted to your content and to grow your social media pages. And then lastly, and I would say most importantly, specific your approach to the platform in which you are posting. You cannot use the same hook, the same style and formatting in LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X. You need to tailor your content approach to specific platforms. Then for this one, I don't think we need a lot of words. I think that paid ads in 2025 is basically marketing suicide, and I think that paid ads is almost I think at least 10 feet buried down on the ground. And I think same goes for manual marketing content. Although manual marketing content definitely stands out in a world where everything is digital, it definitely requires a lot of work, much more money, and has much lower results. So with all of these different strategies, I found out that one thing that they all have in common when being applied is that people do not have a clear plan. They do not have clear steps to take to achieve specific goals, and that is the base on which the system we are going to build now is structured on. Alright, now that we've seen the system in action, let's see how actually everything works behind the scenes. I'm gonna walk you through the core workflow step by step so you can understand exactly what happens, why it matters, and how each part connects to the next. Once you get this, you'll be able to build and tweak your own system with confidence. And so we just made complex out of simple concepts we all know. So let's now break it down in a inverse way and make it simple. So what we've just done is basically pointed out the problem that these business owners, these leads are facing. And so what I've done is I've basically created a highly, extremely user-friendly, optimized form where leads are going to fill in their specific needs and their specific answers to my specific questions, and also your specific questions when you're going to build this. And then when this form is submitted, all the data about the specific answers are going to be fed into the automation we've just seen working in demo with real data, which basically uses all the given data to upload CRM, create the actual strategy, create the JSON, format the JSON, um, randomize the creation of a specific template. Could be this, this, or this one. We've seen the third one. Now I'm going to show you the first one, which is actually, to be honest, the one I prefer the most because it's really the one that looks better. And wait, let me show you in practice how it looks. Let me show you because I really like it a lot better compared to the third one, which is this one. Now this is not actually the account in which the automation operates, but you can see this is a lot cooler than the previous one, a lot more professional. I mean it doesn't really makes a big difference because the only thing that changes is the design itself and the colors. But I mean, if I would have to give my opinion, I really like better this one. And so this is the final output, the value that is given to the prospects that is filling in a simple form. So the barrier to give us their information, so their name, their niche, their business goal, what they are facing, what their problems are, and basically the answers to the specific questions is extremely low because we're giving away something extremely more valuable, which is the actual solution to their problem in exchange, as I just said, for some simple data in a simple, extremely user-friendly form where you just need to click in a couple of sections and all of it's done, and in a minute the problem you're facing is vanished with the solution we've just offered for basically free. And in our side of the equation, we are getting a ton of leads for basically free as well because we do not have to do anything to create all this value we are giving out. And now we connect the circuits, the automation. Like wiring up a dashboard or syncing the fuel lines, we link each and every single step of the journey. One action triggers the next. It's not just smart, it's self-driving. This is where your lead generation system starts to move on its own feet. So now we are here inside make.com, and what you can notice is that the first module is a Notion module, and as we've seen, you need to create a form that is going to be filled out by your leads. So what you want to do is hop into a new tab, hop into Notion. If you do not have an account, you will need to sign up. It's completely free and you can create as many forms as you'd like. Now you have limited options, but that doesn't bother us at all for what we need. So you create a new page, you can name it whatever. I'll name it test form #2, and then you will want to click this little add button right here and search for form. Search for form and select it, and then you can write You can give it any title, which is the one that is going to be seen by your leads. And you can tailor any questions to your specific needs. So here I could write what is your niche, and you can set different variables. You can set any question as required. You can add descriptions, you can make long answers, and even change the question type while you've already created it. You can move it, you can delete it, and everything. Now you will find each and every question and each and every option of the form we've created for this specific lead generation system in the description. So you do not have to stop the video and like copy and paste everything, because you'll find every single prompt and everything that is being used in the system we are going to build in this video down in the description. So do not bother at all stopping the video for anything, because you'll find it in the link in the description. So once you've created your Notion form, you want to go ahead and opt into Make. Again, if you do not have a Make account, you can sign up for free and create new scenarios, as many as you want for free. I think you can active only 3 of them if you have the free plan, but you can definitely create this scenario with your free plan. So first module you want to add is the trigger. It's going to be a watch database items in with Notion. Again, in make.com, when adding module, you want to connect your Notion account. So you will need to click add. You will find connect here. Click connect, connection type, and I suggest you internal, because it's the one that gives the most very specific data of your account. And you will need to copy and paste the internal integration token for you to be able to connect, and then you will be ready to go. So now for the first module, you want to watch database items by created time. So whenever a new item is created, it gives me all the data about that specific item. So for the database ID, what you want to do is hop into Notion, and you can either search here and it will pop out, or you can go ahead and go to the form you've created and watch in URL here. You can see that this is actually the ID of this specific form, and there is a different one for each of the data sets you have in Notion. Now this next module is going to be an Airtable one. So if you do not have an Airtable account, I suggest you to create one. You can choose any CRM you prefer. You can choose ClickUp or even Notion if you want to. I just prefer Airtable. So if you do not have an account, you can sign up for free and create a new workspace, create a new table. And in this table, you want to add these specific variables. And the variables you want to create are basically the answers to the specific questions you've created in the form in Notion. So in my case, you want to go ahead and choose name, then email. You can save it as long text, doesn't really change at all. Then niche, then I believe offer type, which is going to be either like niche is going to be a text, short one, you can single line text. Offer type is going to be single select, because it's either like physical product, service, or like digital products. And then you want to go ahead and like target platform, or like target audience, and I mean you get the point. And you will need to create all these different fields that are going to be populated then with this module right here. So the next module is going to be a create a record. So it's going to update the CRM, which is the one we've just created. You want to choose the base, you want to choose the table. So the base in which you created the table, and the table itself, then the record. And for the record, you basically want to add the values of the answers of these questions you've made in the form. So for name, for email, the property values email. For customer type, again, you get the point. Niche is going to be plain text for what niche do you serve, the answer. For solution offer, properties value, what do you sell, and again the text field of that specific value. Now for the next module, we're going to create the actual marketing strategy. Scenario I've chosen to use Claude, that I've found out basically writes better conversational documents than ChatGPT, but doesn't really makes that big of a change if you use ChatGPT. Now again, you will find the prompts used in the description, so you don't need at all to worry about copying any of this or stopping the video, because you will find every single thing in the description. Also, as for the business variables, if you see these strange black boxes, you don't need to worry at all. You don't need to be scared, because you'll find all the details in the description. Now for max tokens, you can write whatever. I just usually write 2069. You don't really need to put such a specific number. I just found 2069 as a funny number, so I've put that in. Now for the module, you will need to choose like the newest one, so I'll choose Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is the best one out yet. Now for the connection, you will need actually to deposit like $2, maybe there's a minimum of 5, I don't really remember, in Claude, to have access to the API key that you will need to create this connection, because you'll need to click connect here and paste in your API key that you'll have access to when you deposit, and because when you deposit, you buy basically tokens that you can use in these automations right here. I believe you can find it by going to the settings of your profile, but I don't see any API key. Okay, yep, no, okay. I don't really remember where you can find it, but you can just search for Claude API key access, and I think you can just access by the first link. I mean, you figured it out. It's not that deep of a problem. Then the next module is going to be a create JSON, that again, as we said earlier, we need to structure all the data about the specifics of the marketing strategy into JSON, so we can then populate all the different presentation templates. And here again, you're going to find each and every single prompt used, but to give you a little understanding of how this works, you basically give it a task. I want you to take the answer input and provide the output in JSON format, and I basically said to not use additional backticks or spaces or anything that could mess up the JSON. And then all the JSON is specified right here. As you can see, this is all as I wanted to output it. And then some notes, again, to make sure doesn't add any additional spacing or any other form of text. And then the user input, that is going to be the marketing strategy. Let's save. Then next module, again, extremely simple. You just need to search for JSON, parse JSON, and you'll need to fit in just the result of the previous module, which is going to ChatGPT 1. So this is going to parse JSON. Then I think you can use some make.com functions to randomize the number generation, but I've just used our ChatGPT module to generate number between 1 and 3. This is again extremely simple, extremely direct. Just told him to randomize, create a random number between 1 and 3. No other form of text should be contained in the output, as I want just a number. And then again, based on the given variables that of the prospect, we're going to fit in niche, offer type, target audience, marketing goal, and platform, target platform, and create a whole social media post. Then we want to add a router, which is going to split the scenario into 3 different routes. In these 3 different routes are going to be filtered by whichever number this random number generator basically outputs. So if X, so the output of this module is 1, then this specific route will run. So if the results of the 53 module, so this one right here, as you can see, each module has a different operation number, and the second filter again equals 2, third filter, guess what, equals S3. Then what you want to do is basically, what I would suggest you to do is you can just create one single line for the presentation, the create view link, and the send of the email, and then basically you just copy and paste it in a couple of times, and you'll be ready to go, but just by dragging it into a different route. But now let's see how to create the actual variables in the presentation so you can tailor each specific questions to the needs and the answers of your leads. Now quick heads up, because this is the wiring of the card. This is the last part of the build, and so you surely need to pay extra attention to this very last part, because this is actually what you're going to be outputting in the automation. Now, for what concerns choosing the template based on which to create the presentation of the marketing strategy, you can just hop into a new tab and search for Google Slides templates, and you can just click the first link you find, search for a template you like. You can just scroll and see one that fits your criterias, and you can just download it, Google Slides, and we'll download it. You can make a copy into your drive and you will be redirected. And then here what you want to do is maybe firstly rename the actual presentation. Now what we want to do is set up all the different variables that are going to be populated by the actual values created in firstly the Claude module, and then the JSON with which we're basically going to populate all the different sections. So what you want to do is create all these different variables with curly brackets at the beginning, 2 curly brackets at the beginning and at the end of each variable. So if this is title 1, this is how you want to create the variable, because in make.com basically reads variables as text contained into curly brackets. If I go here and no, I've chosen definitely the wrong module. If I go here and write variable, you can see that it transforms into a little block I can choose and I can move as a variable, which is not really containing anything because it's not attached to a real value. But that is the point. If this JSON would have created a variable named variable like this will be populated with the value of that specific variable, but this is not the case. So you can see that this variable is black, which means it doesn't contain anything and it's not attached to any module, because any other variable you can see has the number of the module it is attached to, and it basically tells you that it contains something. But that is it. Basically you want to create all these different variables inside the presentation. You wanna then populate. Firstly, I would suggest you to find whichever slides you think can stay and whichever you should go. Like this one I don't think could be usable. Also this one is very hard to use because this is not something I mean, a marketing strategy has not many visuals, so this should go, this also should go, this also should go. Everything related of course to databases should definitely go, because I mean you can do it with many different variables and steps to create like a dynamic database that changes based on the specific answers of the form. But it is really unnecessary at this point. We have already saw a deep level of personalization with the tailored marketing strategy and tailored social media post, so I would say it's really unnecessary. Again, for the connection of Google Slides, you want to add the connection and you can just sign in with Google. This is extremely easy for Google Slides. And then you will need to log into Drive. So you need to search for drive. You need to search for drive and get a share link. Then you will need to choose the connection. If you do not have one, you'll need to create one again by signing in with Google. You will need to use the presentation ID of the previous module, so this one right here. And as you're going to map this file for drive, you can choose, of course, your drive. You're going to select the file, and then you're going to map the file with the previous presentation ID. Then for role reader, it's good, because we don't want to send something that requires basically any changes, and type anyone with the link can be a reader. Of course, allow file discovery, you can just set as default, hit save. Then the very last module is an email module. Send an email with all the data we just created. So for the email address is going to be again the value of the response of the email. It's going to be this one right here. For the subject, I wrote A, then first name. You'll tell the marketing strategy is here. Then hi, and again, you can format this as just to add this BR value here, because in the email format this stands for new line. So hi, first name, new line, your marketing strategy, named title of the marketing strategy is finally ready. Then the shared link, then new line, and here there isn't because of just logged in the previous version, but it should be also the content of the previous Claude module creating the social media post. And right here is also your fully tailored social media post. Then again, new line, thanks, new line, ability AI, or like we could say best regards, or like talk soon, whatever you want. Then again, new line and ability AI. There's nothing else to add. You can hit save, and we are basically done. Now in your scenario, it will look something like this on the router and a single line. You can just copy this and paste it 3 times, and well, is there a module right here? Okay, yeah, there is. Let's delete this. And for the second and third routes of this animation right here, you of course want to choose a different template. I suggest you to use one that has the same text color, because if you choose one that has the same text color, you can just copy the variables you've created, paste it in the new template, and you're ready to go. If you do not have the same color, you'll need to change each and every text color. Trust me, it is something you do not want to do. And when changing the template, you just want to go ahead and open the module, and you'll need just to change the presentation ID by clicking it and choosing whichever presentation ID you're using for that specific route. And that, again, if I haven't said it before, you'll need to map each and every single variable in here with the JSON you've previously created. And for the perfection of the output, you basically want to test and test and test. You want to create, you can submit just one single form. You can choose where to start by right clicking on the first module, choose where to start, choose manually, and you can just choose any submission. You can choose this one, hit save, hit run once, and everything will run the same exact data. And so to test if everything is good, the formatting, spacing, the length of characters of each section, and all of that kind of stuff. Now I'll hit stop, force stop, because I don't want to waste some credits. Now we might be done for the build, but this is where the most important part comes. Before hitting the gas, you need to test everything. The steering wheel, the brakes, the response time. You need to simulate real user and fix any issue or bump. Then you tune the system for real world traffic, and once it passes the test, then is where you know it's ready for the road. And now we're just done building a lead generation system that runs on his own engine. As I said, we are done for this video. And if you have any suggestions, please leave it in the comment. If you found this video valuable, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.